Okay, hi policy classmates. This is Elena Peters, and this is my Lobby 2 video about action. So, I was playing around with a lot of different ideas of what I could do for this part, and I decided to make a Facebook page. I think all of us know that social media is a huge part of getting the word out and for spreading awareness about different issues, and so this is what I decided to do. I will definitely say I have a lot of respect for people who can keep these up after I just tried messing with one for about like 48 hours. But this is my page. It was kind of fun because I could make a slideshow of different cover pictures. So these are from my original presentation that I did on the ADA and individual disabilities and employment. So I kind of really enjoyed being able to do that. I'm going to go down to a couple of posts I made, and I approached this video and this project as kind of what I think people should know and what I think they should be inspired by to be able to take action both for themselves. Oh, there's a text from my mother. And so here's a couple of the different posts that I did. So one of my posts is about, do you know who your Congress member is? So, because obviously if one doesn't know who their Congress member is, then they can't contact them about the different legislation that they want for them to do. So I posted a link of how to find your House representative. And then also it helps to elevate your voice when you share your opinion with them. It doesn't mean they're going to vote that way, but if you tell them, I mean, you're never supposed to threaten them like, I'm not going to vote for you next time. But it can also be really helpful for them to get a feel for what their constituents want them to vote for. More history lessons. There's 435 members in the House of Representatives, and this is the actual, right here, the things that look like little half circles. This is the actual distribution of the Senate, which is only 100 members, and then the House of Representatives, and how it's split. So that's important for voting and passing legislation. Here's my next thing. So after this video explaining a little bit about what I did and why I did it, I'm going to post a video about a live feed discussing new ADA legislation. Yay, very cool. It's called S.117, and it's called the Disability Integration Act, and I'll go more into that, but I'm going to live feed it actually on this page, which will be really exciting for me. Never done it before. The next thing I did was created not a reel, but a little celebration parade on Friday, July 26th for celebrating the 29th anniversary of the ADA. And I just marked out what our parade route would look like and about, guest speakers and the whatnot. So I thought that was pretty cool. This was another post I made about who your state legislator is, because it's important to know both your House of Representatives legislator and your state legislator. So in Virginia, it's Tim Kaine and Mark Warner, and I have all the different things about them, and later we'll get into why it's important that Tim Kaine is on the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, because that's something that would directly relate to this this page that I made, because if he's on that committee, then it's important for the legislation that he's going to see and what can get passed. This is just a little post I made about how I would be theoretically holding live topics every Sunday at 7, which is what I'm going to try to do today. And then I just posted a couple different pictures. So I hope this showed you a little bit about my page. I'm going to post the link so you guys, if you want to go, pitter-patter around through it, that you can. And I hope you enjoy my live stream, which will be right after this video about this topic in the new ADA legislation. All right, hello everybody. My name is Elena Peters, and I'm an occupational therapy student. Today, our legislative information that we're going to be talking about is Bill S. 117. And so this is really applicable to all of us who might know somebody who has a disability who's going to be working. This is actually an add-on to the ADA. So it's called the Disability Integration Act of 2019. This is really important for anybody who might need long-term care who has a disability, but I'll go more into what it is in just a second. So it was introduced by Senator and the Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer. He's a Democrat from New York, and it was introduced on the Senate floor the first of this year in January 15th, to be more specific. And it was read through twice, and then it was recommended to be sent to the Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. This is where following some of my posts has been important because one of our senators is actually on that committee, Senator Tim Kaine. So if you want him to support this legislation while it's through this review process, contacting him would be really important. And I posted in that post information about how to do that. So it has 25 co-sponsors, 23 Democrats, a Republican, and independent currently. So it has a lot of support throughout the Hill. If you would like more information, I'm also going to be posting a link so that you can check and get updates on this bill. You can actually sign up for notifications through it, so to see how your bill is doing and everything. Which is really cool. So, which is that link that I posted right there. So just in case some of you don't know, the process of passing a bill and having it come into law, it can start in one of the two houses. So it can start in either the Senate or the House of Representatives. So this was introduced in the Senate, and it was introduced on the floor, and everyone agreed after reading through it that it should go to a committee, an applicable committee, to be modified or amended in any ways, and so that they have to vote later on in the committee to pass it so that it can be brought to the Senate floor. And so after it's voted on and passed by the committee, it comes to the Senate floor, and it would need a 2/3 majority vote to be able to go to House Representatives. And there, again, it could go through a potential review or modification process. If that happens, then it needs to be sent back to the Senate to be approved. If it's accepted in its original form, then and passed by majority, then it would be sent to the president. And once he signs that, then it would become the law. So now that we're thinking about this becoming a law, why is this important? Why did this bill come about? So the committee and the co-sponsors and the representative of the bill found that individuals with disabilities who have a right to live and be included in the community, and that there's a real lack of community-based services being provided by the states for these individuals. So that's either transportation or other types of amenities that the state's supposed to be supplying by the ADA, but they're not always fully compliant. So there's also, they found that there's a lack of long-term services of care, including social welfare that are being provided for these individuals, that is not being provided for these individuals by the states. Still, they believe that there's unfair and improper institutionalization of individuals with disabilities. So this bill is supposed to come about to help these individuals not be institutionalized and be put in the highest form of integrated community that they can be, because it seems to be more fair, because by the ADA they're not supposed to be institutionalized, just to have them be sent to a place where they can go. So the last thing is that this whole bill is meant to strengthen the ADA's integration mandate, and that's why this bill is trying to become law, is because it's going to clarify these different mandates, and it's also going to help to motivate or push along the states so that they can actually abide by this mandate and do it in more of a timely matter. So this was a really important purpose of the bill that I found, so I'm going to read directly. It's to clarify that every individual who's eligible for long-term services and supports has federally protected right to be meaningfully integrated into that individual's community and to receive community-based long-term services and support. So this goes into insurance for these individuals and long-term services. It goes into a lot of other things that I'm not going to get into, but it's important that there's going to be these community-based long-term services and supports, and actually occupational therapy, physical therapy, a lot of those different therapies can all come into play, which is why it's important for me to be knowledgeable about this bill and to be wanting to support it, because the individuals can be getting help throughout their lifespan, and it's not just on like a short need to know basis. So overall, what you need to know about this bill is that it's still currently in the committee of health, education, labor, and pensions. Currently, there's no schedule, at least that I could find on the committee's webpage, about voting on this legislation or about any amendments or any type of process that it's in. So I believe they're probably modifying it as we speak. So we want to keep an eye on how it's developing and make sure that it doesn't go just away, that it doesn't get ignored and doesn't stop in this process. But overall, something you just need to know about this legislation is that it's really going to be helpful for individuals with disabilities to continue to be integrated into the communities like they're supposed to be, and it's going to be helpful for everybody to be able to have knowledge of those rights and what they can and can't do. So lastly, this will be enforced and checked up upon by the Justice Department, specifically the Attorney General. And if you have any questions, please comment or feel free to add them to the post. I hope you liked this short little introduction and overview of the Bill S 117, Disability Integration Act of 2019, and I hope we can see it become law soon. Thanks for coming to my live feed.